1 year ago, this Parliament passed the Gender Recognition Reform Scotland Bill after much discussion and careful consideration. Not everyone agreed with the bill, some strongly opposed it. But the will of the Parliament was clear. 2/3 of this chamber voted to pass the bill, with members of all parties voting in favour. But within 4 weeks, the Secretary of State for Scotland blocked its submission for royal assent with the first ever use of a Section 35 order. Scottish ministers petitioned for judicial review, as it was clear to us that allowing this unprecedented veto on a decision of this Parliament to go unchallenged would undermine the Holyrood's democratic will and, by extension, the will of the people we are sent here to represent. First, let me be absolutely clear that the Scottish Government remains committed to supporting and empowering the LGBTQI+ community, including trans people. We will continue to build on our work across government to strengthen this. We work closely with the LGBTQI+ stakeholder group and third sector organisations to ensure the voices of those with lived experience helps improve outcomes for these communities. We are also delivering the Non-Binary Equality Action Plan to improve conditions for non-binary community in Scotland, and the plan includes actions already underway, such as meaningfully including non-binary people in decision-making. The bill's reforms remain the Government's policy, and as we can see from the cross-party support for the bill, they remain what this Parliament would like to see enacted. However, the UK Government's intervention means that the bill cannot proceed to royal assent. It remains a bill passed by the majority of this Parliament, and we will not be withdrawing it. There is a strong indication that any divergence of approach would be unacceptable to the UK Government. As Alister Jack stated in the Westminster Parliament, in short, two different regimes create adverse effects. It is therefore impossible to see how progress can be made, particularly when the rules of this Parliament require that amendments at reconsideration stage are consistent with the Bill's general principles as agreed at stage 1. Nonetheless, our offer is still there. If the current UK Government is willing to work together on this, we will happily sit down with them. If a future UK Government are willing, we will do so with them, so that the Section 35 could be lifted and the bill progresses. It seems clear that the current Government will not do this, and it remains to be seen what a future Government will do. Parliamentary discussion of the Scotland Act shows that the Section 35 power was always intended as a long stop or last resort, and one which would never be needed. It was envisaged that the UK Government should raise issues at an early stage, and the two governments should seek to resolve them. That is in black and white, both in those devolution debates in the Westminster Parliament in 1998 and in the Memorandum of Understanding between governments. But that is not how the Secretary of State for Scotland used the power. It is the Scottish Government's view that this UK Government and the Secretary of State see Section 35 as a veto that they can apply to any legislation passed by this chamber that they disagree with. To ignore the Memorandum of Understanding sets a very worrying precedent for the democratic powers of this Parliament. Regardless of people's views and opinions on gender recognition, that is a very worrying place for our Parliament to be. Now, due to the intransigence of current UK Government, I am confident any repetition of our offer to seek compromise would again be rebuffed. We will therefore focus on working with an incoming UK Government, which we hope will have more respect for devolution and is willing to work together, even when at sometimes we disagree. Now, I recognise that many trans people will be disappointed by this decision. To them, I say this: the Scottish Government will never waver in our commitment to your rights. You deserve to be respected, included and supported. You are not a threat, and you will always be able to live your lives free from prejudice and abuse in the type of Scotland we all want to see. We will continue to work towards a society that is equal and fair, and where people can live as they are, just as we will continue to protect the democratic powers of this Scotland's Parliament.